I guess I'd start by, kind of defining what a mentor is. There's a lot of talk about mentors, even just putting out like, okay, mentor manifesto. There's a lot of excitement. It's like, oh my God, it's the mentor thing. And I want to break down what a mentor is and what it isn't. There's a lot of overhype when it comes to mentors, thinking that the getting a mentor is the solution to all of your problems. I'll see stuff like that online all the time. Like, you know what? I'm facing this huge obstacle, but I just need a mentor. The one thing that's missing in my life is a mentor. And then there's of course a lot of mentor courses that are telling you that too. It's like, hey, if you have trouble in business, if you have trouble in health, if you have trouble here, all you need is a mentor. Now, having a mentor and mentors is awesome. And when it does come to cheat codes, when it comes to success, it definitely is like the closest thing to one, but it's also not some like superhero, superhuman, fix all of your problems, solution. So don't overblow it. It's not some fucking superhero who's going to come in and just do things for you. A mentor, if you want the realistic view of what it is, it's simply someone who's gone down the road, who's gone down the path in terms of achieving what you're trying to achieve right now and is a little bit ahead of you and can give you some pointers. That's it. Okay, a mentor is not a superhero. A mentor is not the solution to all of your problems. A mentor is not magic. A mentor is simply someone who's accomplished what you're trying to accomplish right now. And that person can give you some pointers, can warn you of the different obstacles, of the different shit you're going to face. That person can help you interpret different situations properly because they now have a bigger understandings. There's more context from their perspective, and that's pretty much it. That's all that a mentor is. And one thing I'll say here too, before we keep diving deeper, is although I'm going to be using the term mentor a lot in this webinar to illustrate different points, I would personally recommend not using it outside of this webinar or not using it that much in public. I see this too. People ask, who are your mentors? Will you be my mentor? List out your mentors. I'm looking for mentors. And what you have to understand is that, in terms of hanging out with successful people, those people never really say mentor. Just by saying mentor, it comes off a little too formal, a little too official, a little too geeky in a way. Even if I look back at my mentors, I don't really view them as mentors. It was more like, oh, here are different people I worked with, worked for, different friendships that I had versus my mentor. It becomes too official, too formal, and it'll kind of stifle the relationship between the two of you. So from a content perspective, yeah, you can use mentor, but out in the real world, don't use that term at all. Success happens as a byproduct of different situations you create for yourself. Okay, so let's just say you want to be, healthy. There's one example. You want to work on your health. Most people are way too fucking stubborn. They're like, I'm just going to do it all on my own, and they use tons of willpower. They have to force it. It's just a fucking nightmare. That's directly trying to go for it. Instead, why don't you just create an environment that supports that? Why don't you start surrounding yourself with people who have already gone down that path a bit? People who are working on their health, people who are healthy. Make things easier for you. Okay, there's that famous quote by Jim Rohn, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Select that wisely. Okay, do an audit on your life right now, and that's you. The average of those 5 people. Whoever you spend the most time with, mainly in the real world, but virtually counts as well, that becomes you. And it's crucial to realize this, and it's crucial to take control of that. Okay, but getting mentors is fucking key. I would not be here without mentors. This is one of the first things that I did, even when it comes to success with women, back in 2006, when I first started getting into this. I started looking for people who had gone down that road, of success with women, and were ahead of me, to learn from them. I wasn't stubborn. I didn't have my ego. I'm like, you know what? Fuck everyone else. It's me against the world. I was like, let's find people to learn from. Let's find guys who are more experienced here, and they don't even have to be experts or pros. Let's just find people who are a little bit more experienced, who can help me deal with what I'm going through. If I have a lot of anxiety going up and say hi to a stranger, let's find some people who can help me, blast through that, or who can share their experiences, or help me, change my perspective on it versus being completely stifled and completely traumatized. And what I realized is that not only would that help in terms of success with women, but spending time with those people, as I said before, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, that would rub off on me. And this is one of the crazy things when it comes to, learning success with women, is that, I got into this at an extremely young age. I've been in this for over 10 years, got into it when I was 18, and, I started hanging out with guys who were way older. Like, when you're 18, usually the friends that you have are pretty much, your age. It's like you just hang out with other 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds maybe. You don't really hang out with anyone else. It's like you're still a dumb fucking kid. Now, with success with women is suddenly you're surrounded by, different guys of all ages, of all backgrounds, of all kinds of different professions. And what I realized is that I wouldn't just learn when it comes to success with women, okay, how to do this, how to do that, but it would also massively impact my life, impact my personality, impact my perspective on things. And one comment that I would get all the fucking time, and this is when I knew, holy shit, we are so influenced by all these different things and people around us, is everyone kept saying they were always surprised when they found out how old I actually am. I always looked or acted or gave off a vibe that was more mature, being modest, than I was. And I was like, that's fucking weird. And it came from success with women, being surrounded by all of those people who were, like one of my wingmen was fucking 31. I was 18, he was fucking 31. And as an 18-year-old, you don't have that many possibilities or opportunities to spend time with people who have gone through like a decade or more shit than you. So your perspective is very limited. And by surrounding yourself with people who are further down the road, whether it's success with women or life, helps you grow, helps you expand, because you take that in. And to give you some perspective here, if you even look at some of my first YouTube videos that I ever put out, or my first seminar clips, if you go on YouTube and you type in Julian Freetour, you click on that channel, it's a Success with Women channel, but you go to like one of the first videos that was ever put out. During the time that video was shot, I believe I was either 22 or 23. And you can just see for yourself, being modest once again, the vibe seems a lot more mature than that. Now, from, something to think about. So if you're someone who's very stubborn, like, oh, I'll just do it on my own, no, you got to be aware of the people you surround yourself with. Surrounding yourself with the right people is probably, one of the most important and crucial decisions you can make. You have to do it. It's more crucial than developing hustle. You'll get way further ahead if you become more friendly and learn how to network than just put your head down and just hustle. Because even by doing that, you're going to alienate a lot of people. Most people are not going to want to help you or even spend time with you. So, it's easy to be like, I work so hard, I'm the victim. You're not going to get very far without successful people around you. Okay? And the biggest takeaway, and I'll talk about this too, like in terms of maximizing your time with a mentor, isn't the tips and tricks. And this is another thing to realize. You think that it's important to surround yourself with these successful people because you'll see, the secret tip or the secret trick, when in reality, the main value you'll get out of spending time with them is their character. It's not a specific tip or trick. Okay, all of the specific tips or tricks, especially nowadays with the internet, it's all online. It's all out there. There's no little secrets. It's all there. All the tips and tricks. However, it's how do you apply and when do you apply those tips and tricks, and how does that person act and think? That's really the value. It's not the specific tip or trick, it's what's the character. And that's the biggest thing I got out of hanging out with Owen back in the day. This is life, but also success with women. you'd think, oh man, if you hung out with him, you'd learn all the tips and tricks. But no, it's like for me, the big value is how does that person think? How does that person act versus how I think and I act? If say XYZ happens, like some business crisis or a breakup or something doesn't go your way, how would I naturally react? Maybe I'd panic. Maybe I'd do this. How would he react? Oh, he would do this. He would view it that way. Oh, that's interesting. In terms of growing a brand, oh, I'm going to do this. What does he do? Oh, he does that. Why? Oh, because of this. But in this situation, he'll do that because of this. So you see the bigger picture, and you see how all of these tips and tricks fall into place. That's the big benefit. So don't go in there looking for little specific things. Look for the character. Look for the vibe. And this is something that you'll learn, 24/7. Don't just look for, oh, what's the vibe when that person is working or when that person is doing what they do best. Look for it at all times, when they're working, when they're not working. You want to see, on stage and behind the scenes. You want to see it all. Okay? But, fuck. There's so many benefits to having a mentor. Bigger goals. You think you have big goals. You think right now you're working hard, but spending time with someone who's further down the road than you, you're like, oh shit. It just kind of puts you in your place, holds you up in terms of accountability, helps reinforce, new beliefs. It's fucking key. So I thought I'd just start here with a little rant on, why what is a mentor and why you need it. Now, let's get a little bit more technical here. How to select your mentor wisely. Because you might be watching this and you're like, okay, I get it. I need a fucking mentor. Getting a mentor is awesome. Let's go for it. Okay, what do you need to know? And it all starts with you. You need to know yourself first. As I said before, don't just hear this and just go running like, I need a mentor, I need a mentor. A mentor's the solution to everything. You got to be smart. Okay, know yourself. Ask yourself, what are your goals? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? Who do you want to be like? Who do you need to become? What kind of industry are you going into? What kind of people do you need to surround yourself with? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What's your vision? What's the next step for you versus just hoping on the magic of a mentorship? You need to be strategic. You need to know yourself to know what you need, and then based on what you need, then you need to find a mentor to help you with that. A mentor is not just, well, anyone. Okay? It's specific to you. So know yourself first and really ask yourself those questions and be honest. Do a little audit on who you are, where you're at, what's going on. From there are different types of mentors. Okay, and understand this, anyone can be a mentor. A mentor doesn't have to be celebrity superstar. Anyone can be a mentor. Your fucking neighbor could be a mentor. Anyone. Get rid of this superhero mentor, label. So there are a few types. I'd say the first one I'll just touch on here is, getting mentors through books. Guess what? You can do that. It doesn't have to necessarily be in person. You can get mentors through books. Okay, now, the cool thing about books is that it's cheap, but it's not very flexible and it's not that customized. Okay, so you're not going to be paying a lot. It's super cheap. Like you go on Amazon, at least in America, and most books, even just new, are like $9.99, like $10. And if you want to go really cheap, you can find books for one fucking penny. Just get the used books. You'll still have to pay a shipping fee of, I think, $3 or so, $4. So for $3 to $4, you can get a book. And if you can't afford that on Amazon, just go to a fucking public library. Okay, yeah, they might not have everything, but you can find some really solid classics in there for free. But books are cheap. That's the plus side. But as I mentioned, they're not that flexible. They're targeted to a wide audience. They might not, really customize it to you because they don't know you, but it's a good place to start. And the cool thing about books too is that they're extremely structured. Books or any kind of digital programs too, it's like you have the structure versus having to waste time, bouncing around the place and not really knowing what goes where. And this is huge. If you can get a book, if you can get a digital program, do it. Do not waste time just trying to figure it out, jumping from video to video or article to article. Okay, technically, yeah, you can still figure it out, but it's like it takes so much time. And too, that when someone is writing a book, or, like, if you take me an example, when I make a program, I'm bringing my fucking best to it. It's like every second of that program is the best shit. I try to cut out as much ramble and ranting and fluff as possible, and it's just like, bang, here's the fucking content. And it's the same with a book. That's that person's best shit that's condensed down into this book. There's no noise, let's just say. So books are a great place to start. Right now, if your excuse is, I can't find a mentor, get a fucking book. The other one is, coaching mentors. And this is someone who, you'd pay or hire to coach you. Pretty much get a coach. Now, this is way more flexible because it can be customized to you, but it's also more expensive. I'd recommend doing both. I mean, as soon as you can start investing in yourself, do so. For me personally, I devour books. I devour different online courses. One thing, too, I'd recommend, by the way, on the technical side of online courses is get this, let me pull it up. There's this app. It's a Google Chrome extension called, I think it's Vimeo Repeat and Speed. So it's free. Just go on Google Chrome and get that extension. And what it'll allow you to do is for these digital programs, including Transformation Mastery, when you play the videos, on the top right corner of the video, you can change the speed. So it's like on YouTube when you can do 2 times the speed. On Vimeo, I think you can go up to 4 times the speed. Now, don't do this with the releases, obviously, but that's something I'll do. Like, if there's a program I just kind of want to blast through, instead of, okay, here we go, and say it's like you're fucking busy, get that extension and just double time it, or triple time it, and just poof, blast through it. So I devour books, I devour programs like fucking crazy, and then whenever I can get someone to personally coach me, whether it's virtually through, for example, Skype, like a lot of people start offering that. I start offering that too. Or hire someone in person to coach you, like go to a one-on-one class or anything like that, the better. Okay, it's more expensive, yeah, but it's way more flexible and it's customized to you. So try to use both. And then beyond that, the third type is what you would call a core mentor. Okay, so books, it's extremely wide. Zooming in a bit, then you have the coaches, and then core mentor. And this is, in my opinion, the best. This is someone you're going to spend a lot of fucking time with, and that ideally you experience live in front of you. So it's someone you spend a lot of time with in person. Virtually helps, but nothing beats in person. And someone you're going to spend a lot of time with regularly. So it's not just for a session where you pay and you get coached. You start spending, pretty much a daily basis, every single day with that person. And ideally, try to find someone who's local to you. As I said, you have to spend a lot of time with them. And try to find someone who you can ideally go and work for or intern for. Those are the 3 types. Now, when looking for a mentor, as I said before, look for a mentor, not an idol. Okay, and one of the number 1 rules when it comes to mentors is no hero worship. Everyone enjoys having fans, but no one wants to be personal friends with those fans. Remember that. Everyone enjoys having fans, but no one wants to be friends with those fans. So you have to cut the hero worship. If you go up to someone and you want them to mentor you and you view them as your idol, you're done. They're just going to sense it, and it's just going to put that pressure on them. One of the most easy ways, is to just cut the hero worship and start viewing them as an actual human being. Because if you're going to be spending a lot of time with them, they have to feel comfortable around you. And when they meet someone who's a fan, it's fucking awesome, but there's that expectation for them to be that idol, for them to be that hero. And if there's always that expectation, they're around people who have that expectation of them 24/7, it's just a lot of pressure, and they won't be able to live up to it, and they won't want to be around people who impose those expectations on them. Even recently, I was actually talking to my friend who does a lot of my videos, and he toured with the band 30 Seconds to Mars, and he would see like how exhausting it would be, whenever there's like the meet and greets. And we were talking to about how even Justin Bieber now is like, just stop doing meet and greets altogether. Not because, from their perspective they dislike the fans, it's just that it's so overwhelming, because you can never truly fully be what that fan expects you to be. Because from that fan's perspective, they only see bits of you, and then they fill in the gaps themselves. And then when they meet you, it's like, you want to live up to that. You're like, fuck, these are my fans. These are my fucking family. This is my tribe. And you want to do good by them, but you know that you never fully, truly can. And it's just, a lot of pressure. And if you're someone who's going up like, mentor me, and they sense that off you, you're done. So don't get caught up in fandom. And if you can just bring, hey, you're human. I get it. We're both human. We're both cut from the same cloth. You've accomplished XYZ, which I'm working on right now, which is awesome. But we're still human. You will stand out. They will want to spend time with you. And it's very easy to stand out by doing that, because everyone usually kind of falls into that fandom. Okay? And even in terms of learning from them, and this is also why being too much of a fan will fuck you over. Not only will they not want to hang out with you, but you won't truly be able to take in all of the value and lessons, because as soon as you start spending time with them, you're going to realize very fast that they are human. And then what your mind's going to say is, oh, they're human, they're not all I thought they were, so I guess there's nothing really to learn from them. And then you would just block off all the lessons. I'll see that a lot. And as soon as someone sees behind the scenes, instead of viewing that as, oh, that's awesome, they're human like me, what can I learn here? It's, oh, they're not the person I thought they were. And they block off all the lessons. So kill the hero worship. Beyond that, look for someone who has a track record of success. Okay, look at their history, look at what they've done. Nowadays with the internet, it's easy to just kind of jump online and, I'm going to mentor you on becoming successful, although the person's not successful. Or I'm going to mentor you on this, although they've not actually accomplished anything before. You want to jump to the teaching without the prior experience. There's a million life coaches out there. I think there's even like, you can get a credential to be a life coach. Like you do like a week or two of training, and now you're certified life coach. So look for the track record, look for the success, look for the actual results. Look for the results. Make sure that they have put in the work, and make sure too that they are still growing. It's easy to look at someone like, oh, look at that person, they did all this, but now they've stagnated. Make sure they're still passionate. They're still pushing that fucking envelope. And it's better to, if you find a mentor that's in your specific industry, whatever you're doing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, because a lot of what you'll learn is universal. From there, do your research. Know them very well. Crucial. And I'll talk about this when it comes to minimizing the downside and developing social intelligence. But don't ever ask someone to be your mentor unless you know them inside and out. Unless you know all of their content inside and out. Unless you know what they fucking teach inside and out. If you go up, those are the basic requirements. If you go up and you ask someone some fucking stupid question, and by stupid question, there are no such things, stupid questions, but I would say a question that person has covered many a times, like all over the internet. Like if someone comes up to me in terms of success with women, they're like, hey, will you mentor me? But look, I have this really important question. How do I say hi to a girl? I'm like, really? Like, I've covered that a million times before. Have you not even taken the time to watch one of my videos? One of my programs? It immediately just cuts you off. And it's like, hey, if you're not going to put the time to do your research, like, why would I want to invest all this time and energy in you? It's like, come on. It's like, you got to show that willingness. You have to show that willingness. You have to show that you care about them and what they're doing versus just give me. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what your mission is. Give me. Cut that. Okay. Do your research beforehand. And always think too, like what you're communicating. Say you want to go work for someone. This is another one I actually get quite a lot. I'll get messages through Snapchat. And I'm not dissing this. I absolutely love it. But I'm just pointing out the dynamics. I get messages through Snapchat saying, hey, will you be my mentor? Now, first of all, there are different platforms. You're going to want to ask this. Well, to start off, never say, do you want, will you be my mentor? Never ever say that. And we'll get to that. 2, don't ask via Snapchat. Ask either in person or via email, something somewhat professional. And 3, what I get is, hey, will you be my mentor? And they even know that Snapchat's not the most appropriate way to ask. But then they follow up with, okay, will you be my mentor? What's your email so I can email you? Now, again, nothing. I love it. I love the love. But in terms of the dynamics, what is it communicating? Okay, wrong platform, not on Snapchat. But, okay, you did get that it's the wrong platform, so there's at least the social intelligence there. So you get a minus, but then a plus. But then it's like, hey, what's your email? Now, my email is fucking everywhere. If you just type in, my name and email, or, Julian Real Social Dynamics email, or Julian himself email, or you go on my YouTube, or you go on my Facebook, or you go, on any of my social media, you will see a contacts button. You will see my email. From my perspective, what it shows is, okay, if this person can't even find my email, why would I want to hire them and, have probably more important tasks? Because if I'm saying, like, hey, go contact this person, are they going to also contact that person through Snapchat asking for their email? So it's like, you got to think in terms of the dynamics. This is social intelligence when it comes to networking. What are you putting off? What are they going to think of you? And you can't allow yourself to communicate those little things to just show lack of social intelligence and just, again, not caring or not up to par to do the tasks. Be realistic. If you're, like, here's one example. You know what? I want to start a business and I need a mentor. I heard this Elon Musk guy. He's pretty successful. He's in my field, in my industry. I'm down. And, Julian said not to hit him up on Snapchat, but I'll email him. I'll email Elon Musk. Oh, no response. Well, I tried. It's like, Elon Musk is not going to fucking mentor you. Unless you're on the in, and you usually have to baby step your way up to, someone like Elon Musk. But even then, it's like, you got to be realistic. Find someone in your league. Okay? Don't choose someone who's out of your league or someone who is unavailable, and then rationalize that you tried. Baby step your way up. Okay, your first mentor is probably not going to be your lifelong mentor, and that's fine. You have to climb that connection ladder. That's what I did. It's like when I started out, even when it comes to success with women, guess what? I'm not going to hang out with the best in the world. I'm not even going to hang out with the good ones. I sucked when I started. I couldn't even say hi to anyone. I couldn't even ask someone in the street for the time. So I just hung out with whatever was there. And then through that, I started building my way up to better and better and better. And then using the connections, using the authority. Okay, you have to realize that once you're on the in, you're on the in. That is so much value. And that's another huge thing you'll get out of mentors, is that by spending time with them, you're now on the in. And you'll have access to their connections. And then through those connections, you'll have access to their connections. Huge. Okay, so much of what happens just happens by being on the in. And you have to know how to do this and how to use this to your advantage. Okay, don't expect your mentor to do it for you. Just start being creative. Once you're on the in, who does this person know? Let's go meet them. Let's go befriend them. Who do they know? Let's go meet them. Let's go befriend them. Be proactive. Now, how to get a mentor. Okay, we talked about choosing them. We started getting a little technical. In terms of how to get a mentor, there's no quick shot formula. It's not. It's such a nuanced strategy, that it can't just be like, do this, 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 this. But I'll share with you some tips and tricks, but realize that it really depends on the situation. Okay, so as I mentioned before, asking someone to mentor you will never, ever work. Never say, will you mentor me? No one wants to mentor anyone. Okay, what you're basically saying is, hey, will you mentor me? Do you want to invest a lot of time and energy in just coaching me just cause? Will you mentor me? You're like, no, but look, I'll work hard. I'll put in a lot of hours. Okay, I could hire someone to do that too, and I could invest my time and energy elsewhere. Why would I invest it teaching you when I could just pay someone to do it? Okay, no one wants to mentor anyone. So don't ask that. Okay, don't say, will you mentor me? And that's also why I said in the beginning of this webinar that you should not really view it as this mentor thing. It's more, who can I start being around? That's the best way. Who can I start being around versus mentor, mentee? How can you start being around these quote-unquote successful people? Okay, and then of course it's your job, not theirs, to extract the value. That is how it happens. It's not their responsibility to mentor you. It's your responsibility to find a way to spend time with them and extract value. And be creative here, do whatever it takes. If it's in person, find a way to meet them wherever they spend time. Go to one of their fucking events. If it's huge crowds, go to one of their paid events where it's a little bit more private. Okay, and you have to invest usually a bit to start getting on the in. You know, it's you can technically do it where you just don't spend any money, and suddenly now you're on the in and you're spending a lot of time with these people. But most of the time, you'll have to make some investments for the long run, whether it's going to an event to spend time with them and getting to know them and conveying your personality, whether it's showing any kind of willingness, whether it's a program to do your research, whether it's to fly somewhere to meet them, whether it's, I mean, for me, when it comes to success with women, when I started helping out Owen doing these dating programs around America, one of the requirements was, do you have a car? And I was like, of course I have a car. I didn't have a car. And then I'd hustle to find money to buy this shitty fucking car. Okay, it's like whatever it takes, but you'll usually have to invest some. And that's fine. You will make it back 100-fold, 1,000-fold. So don't worry. Okay, but live events, different signings. If it's an author, go to the book signing. Okay, dinner parties, charity events. Basically, anywhere you can just see them in person. So for me, the best way, if I want to spend time with someone else who's in the personal development industry, there's two ways that I would go about it. One, and this is the ideal, is be at an event where they're at, and if they're speaking there, I'm also speaking there. Or if it's a dinner party, I'm also part of the group. I'm already on the in. That'd be the best way. Somewhere where I have some authority beforehand versus me just coming up as a stranger like, hey man, hey girl. Okay, I can still make that work, but ideally in a position where you already have authority. So somewhere where I'm speaking, somewhere where we're at the same table, at the same dinner, part of the same crowd, or using connections, as I said before. Hey, I know XYZ. Boom, you're already on the in, you already have authority. So kind of start getting creative in terms of authority. Okay, don't ask, as I said, via Snapchat. Don't send too long, didn't read TLDR emails. Get to the point. If you're going to email someone and ask them to mentor you or ask them for anything, don't send your whole fucking life story. Okay, get to the point. Realize they don't have time, and they want someone who has that social intelligence, who realizes that. They don't want someone sending this like 50-page life story email about why they should hire you or why you should intern for them. You know, you may be a perfect match, but they just don't have time, and they'll just click on next. Get to the point. Okay, communicate social intelligence, and when you meet them in person too, as I said before with the no hero worship, be aware of what you're communicating. You got to ask yourself, what would make them want to spend a long period of time with you? Is it being around a fan where there's a lot of expectation? The answer is no. Is it being around someone who asks these long fucking questions or who always asks questions? And the answer is no. So whatever questions you have, most of the time, fucking zip it. Okay? They don't want to be around someone that just wears them out all the time. So what about this? What about this? What about this? Especially if you didn't do your research and all those questions could be answered in, whatever content or programs that they have out. Okay, so social awareness here is huge. Another way to build authority, if you don't have prior authority, is to infiltrate their clique, infiltrate their social circle, infiltrate where they hang out. Become part of that clique. You can become a familiar face if you're always going where they're going and they see you a lot, or even online. If there's different Facebook groups that they're a part of, different business groups, different health groups, whatever it is, start posting in there. Start building a name for yourself. Start answering every fucking comment, every fucking thread, so that when they log in, they see your name. Okay? For me, in different Facebook groups, there are people that stand out because they're just posting in there all the fucking time. And don't post anything. Remember, you want to communicate value. Don't post dumb questions. Don't be fucking whining. Don't do all that shit. It's like, post stuff where if you were reading it, you're like, oh, that's cool. That's a great answer. Great attitude. Okay, you want to be the people who stand out in those groups. Don't befriend them directly. Befriend their friends or assistants. Huge. Don't go directly to them. Befriend the assistants so that the assistants start talking about you. And now when you go say hi, there's already that authority behind it versus you just being a stranger. Okay? Ask yourself too, who do you know in common? Who do you know in common? You want that person to mentor you? Who do you know in common? And then try to get through that person to them. And then when you meet them too, don't try to, as I said, get them as a mentor and you convince them you're a mentee. Focus on becoming their friend. Focus on becoming their friend. This should be like one of the biggest takeaways from this webinar, by the way. Don't try to get a mentor. Don't try to be a good mentee. Try to get a friend. And this is where even a lot of what we've covered so far is always linked to what would make them want to spend time with you? What would make them want to hang out with you? How can you be their friend? Okay? And social awareness for this is huge. A lot of this has to do with basic social awareness and not doing these things that just kill the vibe or communicate massive low value. Okay, one is be prepared to talk. Okay, don't expect them to do all the talking. And this is big, even if you're someone who's not really in the full hero worship, where, like, let's just say I'm watching someone on YouTube, and I see them in person. And let's say, oh, we have a friend in common. So I have the authority. I know them. Maybe they know me, from my videos. I'm never going to go up and just be like, hey, and then just shut up and wait for them to talk. Because that will be the reflex. And it requires social intelligence to realize this. Because when you're watching someone online, it's this one-way relationship. It's like, they're your fucking friends. I've many friends online that I don't know in person because I'm watching their fucking videos. I'm like, whoa, yeah, it's my fucking friend. And then, when you meet them in person, you expect them to behave that same way. It's like you have this whole relationship built in your mind, but they don't know you. They know nothing about you. So I'll go up like, hey, and then shut up. And like, why are they not talking? Don't do that. Realize they don't know you. Snap out of that. Be like, hey, how's it going? And start talking to them. Be aware, too, of how they're reacting to you. Are they comfortable? Are they tense? Is it a right time to talk? What's the context? If you meet someone right before a seminar, for example, when it comes to social intelligence, don't go and ask your fucking questions. If you see someone very serious preparing to do a seminar, don't ask your questions. Don't go up to them then and there. Or if you do, just something very light, just to get noticed. Or go up to their fucking assistants, as I said before. Way better. Okay? Be aware of the context. If they're tensing up, change the topic. If you're talking for too long and they're like, okay, we got it, cut the topic. You don't need to finish your point. You need to learn, okay, what's going on here? How can I make this comfortable for them? Okay, be brief most of the time. Don't share your whole life story. Read their reactions. Stand out a bit. Don't ask the same generic questions that they get asked all the time. And this is also why doing your research is so important. And don't use the word mentor. never ever use the word mentor. If you're writing them, this is in person. If you're writing them via email, don't have at the bottom sent from my iPhone or sent from my iPad. It just looks super fucking just lazy. Like you're just at home. You're like, I need a mentor. Send. You want to be my mentor? It's like, no. Show that you care. Don't suggest that you want to do what they're doing, or you're going to be their fucking competition. It's like, hey, will you be my mentor? I love what you do. I want to be really good at it too and start my own company doing that as well, just like you. It's like, what? Again, social intelligence. You're basically saying, will you help me become your competition? So I can take your clients and maybe one day become so good I put you out of business? Will you help me with that? No, don't. Don't say that. Even if you do, don't fucking say that. If you ask for advice, be sure to apply it and show them that you applied it. Okay? That's a huge motivator for someone to mentor you. It's when they give you advice, you actually take action on it, versus they give you advice and you do fucking nothing. It's like, why would they waste their time and energy giving you all this advice if you're not going to put it to use? So show that you're an action taker, whether it's in person or whenever you see them again. Like, hey, I did what you told me to do and it went awesome. It went fucking awesome. Or if you're part of the same groups online, report back in that group. If they give you even a comment online, report back how you took action on it and how XYZ happened. And end on a high note too. If you meet them in person, don't drag it out. Remember, even if you're enjoying your time there, it's like, leave a good impression and stay on their radar. Don't just try once. Most of the time, it's a long-term play. Okay, it's not, will you be my mentor? It's spend a lot of time. Remember, your goal is to become their friend. A question you always have to ask yourself is, how can I give? Okay, there's that old saying, don't pursue, attract. Instead of, how can I take? How can I get value? How can I give? The more you give, the more you get. Okay, and you have to ask yourself here, what do they want? Okay, what do they need? What do they want? And how can I give that to them? And usually it's something that's in another field. For example, people tend to think, and I love just using me with success with women, like that I would want to hang out with someone else who is extremely good when it comes to success with women. However, it's cool, but being modest, I already have that handled. It's not something that I need. It's not something that I want. And if I have two options, like to hang out with someone who's really good at success with women, or someone who's not good at success with women, but who's really good at, cinematography, for example, and it can help me make my videos like higher, production quality, so on and so forth, that person, there'll be more incentive for me to want to spend time with that person. So if you're going up to someone, what can you give? Don't give the thing that they already have. Look at them as a whole and ask yourself, okay, what areas, are they not fully on top of? And how can I help them become on top of that? Okay, look at the other areas of life. And even on your initial meet or your initial email, give. And this is also why it's not good to ask, can you be my mentor? Can I travel with you and learn from you? Hey, I've been working on this. Can you take me under your wing? Because all you're communicating there is just taking. Okay, instead, communicate what can you give. Your emails, or when you meet them, should be along the lines of, hey, here's how I can help you. For what? Why? Just 'cause. For nothing. Nothing in return. Here's some help. I just love what you're doing. I love your mission. I love what you're building. Here's some free help. That's the best way. And really have zero expectations to get anything in return. Even if suddenly, they don't mentor you, they don't become your friends, that's fine. Just get in the habit of giving. And that, funny enough, is probably your first big lesson when it comes to becoming successful. Because that's how successful people think. The more output, the more input. They're just used to giving just to give. And until you adopt that way of viewing things, you're going to be very limited. Okay, giving is not a task, it has to become who you are. And don't keep track either. Like, I gave them this, this, this. What did they give me? Just be a person who gives. Be a person who generates. And a lot of people have resistance to this. They're over entitled. It's like, well, I deserve. No. In this context, kill this whole, well, I deserve. I deserve this. Instead, give. And beyond that, show massive appreciation, gratitude, say thank you. And just by also, and this is subtle and you have to trust in the process here, just by not asking for anything in return, you will stand out from 99% of people. And you'll probably inspire them to want to give you something in return. Now, don't be surprised if they don't, but realize that if you send something to someone and it's like, hey, here's some free help. Done. You just send that to them. And just say, hey, thanks so much. I love what you're doing. I just asking for nothing, just here. Keep it up. I love it. I'm a huge fucking, I'm a huge fan. Maybe not say fan, actually, based on what we said. I'm a huge supporter of what you do. If you got that email from someone and there's nothing in return and you just see like such love and appreciation and belief in what you're doing and the help, you're probably going to want to give something back. Maybe not, oh, let's be best friends, but like part of you would be like, oh shit, this is awesome. How can I thank this person? Because you'll probably feel a little bit like uncomfortable not thanking them because you just got so much, good vibes and help from them for free. Now, again, don't expect them to. It's like, they didn't feel bad. They didn't give me something back. Don't do that. But in a lot of cases, you'll be surprised. Okay? And this is another reason to do your research so you know their needs and you know how you can assist them. You know who they are, what they need help with, and you show that social intelligence there. Okay, research, and I'll keep stressing this, everything about that mentor. Find out everything. Understand that person and show them that you care. Learn about them, learn about their customers, where you can help, why they would want you to work for them, and why they'd want, your help. How do you fit into all of that? And in terms of what's to give, value. What value are you bringing to this relationship? Now, right now, you might be, at the bottom. You might be starting out, and there's nothing. You're like, well, I don't have any value to give or bring. What would this successful person want from little me? 3 things that everyone has, and I don't care who you are, you have this. Hustle. Okay, hustle, drive, outgoingness, energy, time, and positivity. Being in a good fucking mood. Those are 3 things that everyone fucking has. I don't care who you are, you can bring that to the table. And this is stuff that people resonate with. If you're someone right now who's kind of slacking off, I mean, of course, the best way is let go of that resistance to taking action. But if you want a good reminder, get someone who's usually younger, who's at the starting line, who has that fucking drive and passion. And that'll transfer onto you. It'll remind you what that used to feel like. Okay? I would rather have someone who's very new, but just really excited, passionate, alive, than someone who's more advanced and just kind of, Get that person who's new, who likes that. Okay, that is value. Time is value. If you're at the bottom, it's like you have nothing. You have a lot of time. Offer your time. And positivity, always being in a good mood. Being in a great state, never be negative, never complaining. Don't moan, don't complain, don't bring people down, don't talk about your problems. You're there to make their lives easier. Okay? You should always be smiling, being positive, joking around with them, and don't even show a single sign of negativity. Now, when people hear me say this, they're like, well, why is it on me to always be positive? What? It's like, if you want to be negative, pay them and take their programs. If you want to hang out with them, if you want to be their friends, shut the fuck up. Beyond that, create no downside. Okay, another way of offering value is simply don't take value. Create 0 downside. And this really comes from social intelligence. Don't be leechy, and just always do things that are appropriate to the context.
Social intelligence is knowing what is appropriate to whatever context you're in. At that moment in time, there's always a certain context. There's always something that is appropriate, something that is considered common sense, and something that isn't. Right now, in a seminar like this, for example, if I'm talking right now about social intelligence, we're building up towards the point. We're exploring this topic. That's the context. What would be inappropriate if right now in the middle of a sentence, Julian, oh, what's your question? Would you like to add on to what we're talking about? How do I text a girl? That would not be appropriate to this context. Okay? And what does that communicate about that person? Not to diss that person and not to scare you from asking any questions. But what does it communicate? That that person can't see outside of himself. He can't grasp, okay, here's the dynamic of the group, here's the environment, here's the context, this is what's going on. It just communicates that he has no social intelligence, no social intuition. What would be appropriate to the context here? For example, asking a question that adds value, that adds to what we're talking about. When you ask the question, same thing. There's two ways. Jordan. I'm like, yeah, what's up? Say we're building. There's a lot of energy. What's up? I have a question with the social intelligence, and yeah, that's the question. That kills. That sucks the fucking energy out of the room. Everyone's like, what? It's like you're building. It's like, no, done. Don't do that. That is so low social intelligence. We're just rambling for too long. You know, I kind of cut a few people short earlier on where it's like, I have a question. So when I was 5 years old, and here's my entire life story, I'm like, what's the question? I'm getting to it. And when I was 7, this thing, it's like, okay, when I was 9, it's coming. It's like, what's the damn fucking question? That is something that also sucks out of the room. Okay? The way you ask it, it's always like, add in the vibe, add a smile, add some energy, let's pump it, let's create something here together. That's appropriate to the context. Some other examples would be, you know, say I tell a joke right now, and say everyone laughs. What would not be appropriate would be to be like, say I do the joke, everyone's laughing, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. By the way, did you guys really get the joke? It's funny because this equals this. Ha ha! That kills it. That sucks the air out of the room. Do you guys get this? I hope. Yes? All right. There's another one too. This was it was Jeff. He was with a client, and he was like standing on this on this stair thing, and he was talking to this girl who's like really, really tall. And she was joking because he's small, but he's standing on it. And she obviously knows he's standing on it. She's joking, oh man, you're really tall. He's like, yeah, and like jokes around with it. The guy who's with Jeff, he's like, no, listen, let me interrupt everyone, let me interrupt. He's actually not tall. Look, there's a step, so you see he looks tall because he's standing on the step. That just kills. It sucks the vibe out. There's not that social intelligence. And this is something that you have to learn, okay? And the way you learn this is very straightforward, but not necessarily easy to do. It's massive social references and pattern recognition. That's it. Massive social references, pattern recognition. That's how you build and develop social intelligence. Interact with people in the real world a lot, and then just start bringing awareness to what the fuck's going on in the dynamic. It's like, okay, when I say this, what happens? When I do this, what happens? When I feel like this, what happens? When the person feels like that, what happens? If I say this joke and then I say this dumb thing, what happens? Oh, it didn't work. And then start changing it and bring awareness to every little detail. Now this will feel fucking weird at first, but you gotta bring your awareness to fix what the fuck's not working, and then you can make it unconscious again. But this is a necessary step.
And then from there, of course, start building more specialized value, develop different skills, develop a body of work that distinguishes you. That's your resume nowadays, Build a reputation, put some videos out, help yourself before you look, for a mentor to help you. Get noticed, like some things that everyone fucking needs now is like help with ads online, like Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google AdWords, like anything in the internet marketing side of things is fucking huge. Help them with that. Developing skills, website developer. You could email someone, hey, I saw there was this thing with your website and I fixed it. Boom. Solve a problem for them. Photography, video skills. With the internet now, it's like pretty much everything is video. Get your video skills down. Social media skills down. Sales. Okay, everyone needs fucking sales skills. Start building a body of work. building more value to offer, okay? And beyond that, connections. Can't stress the importance of connections. Find people to offer value to and then introduce them to each other, and just keep using your connections. Pay your dues, especially if you're someone who's at the bottom. Really kill that sense of over-entitlement. Okay, you're not as good as you think you are. You're not important. You need to just shut the fuck up and take it for a bit. Just pay your fucking dues. Embrace the humble beginnings. It's not glamorous. Nothing is above you. Do whatever it takes and take it seriously. Whatever the fuck it takes. If your mentor needs you to, drive their clothes to the dry cleaners, you do it with a fucking smile. If your mentor needs you to pick them up somewhere and drive them to the airport, you do it with a fucking smile. Whatever they need. If it's the middle of the night and they need to drive out and pick up this person and do this, you fucking do it. Okay? You're their happy bitch in a way. And swallow your pride. Swallow your ego. That's how you'll get ahead.
If you're at the very bottom, whatever the fuck it takes, nothing is beneath you. Fucking smile always. Do whatever they fucking want. Be their fucking bitch slave. For real. And you gotta swallow your pride big time. Big time. And anyone who really moves up goes through those types of periods where you just fucking swallow it and you just take the dick. You just take that fucking dick and you enjoy taking the dick. And this is something, to be honest, like most people won't really reveal. Everyone's like, you know what? It's all about the good attitude and just have a good intention. But no, if you want to get good, there are times where you have to take the dick. I took the dick quite a lot. Okay? It's true. No, it's true. No, it's true. It's something that is a little overlooked when it comes to becoming successful. So for me, for example, like one scenario where I took the dick was moving from Switzerland to Los Angeles. Okay, I'm originally from Switzerland, not the Schweizerdeutsch part, the French part, but ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch mit einem französischen Akzent. Ich verstehe alles. But anyway, I'm from Switzerland, small fucking town. I moved to LA, and people think that I moved to LA and I immediately started working for RSD and traveling and teaching all this shit. But that was not true. When I moved to LA, I had no contact with Owen or anyone. I was just this fucking little farm town Swiss kid. And I arrived there and I had almost no money and I was broke for quite some time. Okay? And I arrived there, I found an apartment on Craigslist, which is the sketchiest shit you'll ever go on. And it was a living room situation where I could just sleep on the floor in the living room for $500 a month. In LA, that's cheap. In LA, that's extremely cheap. There's nothing cheaper in LA. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I had to find a fucking job. And I just went through a ton of shit jobs, including working at, in LA, in America, it's called the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, which is like Starbucks. So I was your barista. If you came to Starbucks, that would be me. I'd be with a fucking apron, like, hello, like that, like giving you your fucking coffee. And I was damn good at it too, but that was me. That's my situation. I was making $850 a month off that, working like fucking 40 to 50 hours a week, total dog shit job. And then I met Owen. I'm like, hey man, what do I have to offer? Nothing. Kill your sense of over-entitlement. I have nothing to offer, but guess what? I can be fucking outgoing. I can be positive. I have a lot of drive, a lot of hustle. I'm pretty fucking good at socializing. So I knew that. And that's what I did all the time. Whenever I was around him, fucking smiling, fucking going all out. I was also very socially aware. And that's something too, when say you approach someone like, will you mentor me? That's the question everyone asks. Like, I see it all the time. It's like, will you be my mentor? Never ask that. Although the term mentor is used a lot, never ever say mentor in real life. Say mentor when you're talking about it to know what the fuck's going on, but never go up to someone and be like, will you mentor me? It never works. No one will want to be your mentor. No one wants to be a mentor. And by even viewing it that way, you kind of formalize it and make it too official and too awkward and weird. Okay? When I saw Owen, I was never like, will you be my mentor? It's more like we started hanging out, and then you kind of learn by spending time with them. But it's always like these different either friendships or work relationships where you just learn from them. It's not like this official mentorship where you become initiated to the mentor-mentee dynamic. Okay? So I saw him and I knew nothing. Now, the first thing I knew is I had social intelligence from the previous 3 years of going out and interacting with strangers. So I made sure I didn't fucking take. I made sure everything I did was very appropriate to the context. So when I saw him, the first thing I didn't do was ask a fucking game question. Never do that. Again, you got to think, what would make them want to hang out with you? Would they want to hang out with someone who's always asking fucking questions, draining them of their energy? Yes or no? No. Okay, don't ask a game question. And if you do ask a question, make sure you ask them a fucking question that they haven't talked about a million times before. Do your research. Okay, if I go up, say to Owen, I'm like, hey man, love your shit. How do I open? It's like, dude, I made fucking millions of videos on this. Watch that. Okay, it's like you got to show like, you care, you know what's up, and you're going to apply what they teach versus knowing nothing about them and asking a question you could easily find online. But I was very aware of that. So it was like very, just fun, light conversations, adding to the fun, adding positivity. Now, in terms of social intelligence too, if you want someone to help you out, don't necessarily befriend them directly, befriend the assistants. Befriend that guy. No, it's true. There was like, before I got hired, there's like multiple interviews, and every interview I'd be joking around, but I'd always be fucking befriending the assistants all the time. Why? Because they're the ones I want them to talk me up. Like, oh, that fucking Julian guy's really cool. That's what I want, okay? Whenever he saw me, just this contest was success with women, I always wanted to be like outgoing and talking to girls. So say you're waiting to, say we meet somewhere, instead of me just waiting by myself, I'd be chatting other people. So when they arrived, they would see that. All that is just basic social intelligence. Put yourself in their shoes. What's their perspective? What's the context? What are they looking for? What would be appropriate to that? Okay? And then beyond that, as I mentioned before, I sucked the dick. I took that dick. I did whatever it took. If I got a call to like drive out somewhere, I'd fucking do it. Nothing was beneath me. Why? Because you're already at the bottom. Work your way up. Pay your dues. Swallow your ego. Swallow your pride. Swallow that entitlement. If you're a hard case newbie and there's some like guy who's like, okay, take the dick and do whatever it takes. If that guy's like, go get me this, you go do it. And you'll go through that phase of just kind of shit, where there's no pride, there's nothing really to be proud about, but it's one of those instances where when you look back 2-3 years down the road, you're fucking happy you took it. Okay? But you have to go through that. The number one thing that blocks guys is their fucking pride, or blocks anyone in terms of success. It's like they don't want to look fucking stupid, they don't want to do the dumb shit, they don't want to do the grunt work, they don't want to pay their dues. In terms of success with women, the number one thing that blocks guys is their fear of looking needy. It's the biggest thing. I see it on boot camp. Oh, I didn't want to walk her home because I'd look needy. Well, then you're here. What the fuck? Oh, I didn't want to ask for the number because I didn't want to look needy. It's like, what? Do you want the girl or not? Fuck this looking needy shit. Don't worry about looking needy. Play to win. In any area, fuck the looking needy, play to win. There are times where you will look needy. There are times where you'll be embarrassed. There are times you're like, fuck, I'm so happy my friends never saw me do this. But you gotta do it. If you're serious about this and if it's really what you want. Yes, in the back.
Yeah, great event. Yeah, I have 3 points that
Hey. Now, a couple of things. When you say great event, okay. Pause. Oh my God. Okay, best example of social intelligence. Number 1, it didn't seem like you fucking mean that great event, man. First of all, great event? Where's the smile? Great event, man. Fuck yeah. And number two, if I talk, listen. But the 3 points. Okay, what are your 3 points? I hope they're not 3 complaints, but proceed.
I want to give like 3 points because you said that, and I think it's important to the other to know. First, you said when you moved to LA, you had nothing to offer, but I think the important thing that you offered was like loyalty. You moved to LA and not talk about. You showed Owen that you wanted to do that. And that is a big part, not the only one, but an important one. And
yes.
The second was when he said, you think...
Okay, pause. Do you think right now, and I'm going to sound like a dick, but it's for your own good. Do you think right now, people you're adding or taking? Do you think people are into what you're saying? No. You want to know why? Because they came to see me. I'm joking. The intentions are really good behind what you're saying, but then it's like the context. So there's always an appropriate context. And because your intentions are good, that's awesome, but because you are not aware of the context, it just happens in like just any interaction. It's like if you, again, don't seek to understand first, understand who that person is, where they're coming from, who the crowd is, where they're coming from, what the context of this event is, it's not going to click and it's going to make things worse. That's like me coming up to a fucking, I don't know, business event and I interrupt the guy speaking. Or say you're in fucking university and there's the teacher like, okay, so this is what you do. And they're like, sir. First of all, great class. I love what you're writing there. He's going to be like, the fuck's this guy? But I just want to make it clear for all these who didn't understand. Let me just repeat what you said. So guys, with 2 + 2, it makes 4. And I think that's very important you understand as teacher told us. Great point, sir. The second thing he said, everyone's like, dude, we were all there. We appreciate it, we were all there. But who the fuck are you? Not to diss it, again, the intention's really good. It's just like that awareness of the context. It kills every time. And that's what I'm saying. It's shocking too, because, I mean, how the fuck would you know? You know, it's like, it's all through these different references. If you're just spending a lot of time, and this is everyone today, on the fucking computer, and then you go out in the real world, you have no idea. Because on the computer, guess what? There's a live video, a webinar. What's next to that fucking webinar? The chat box. Hey guys, dick pics and all this weird shit. And then you come to a seminar like this and you're like, I guess the chat box is I just speak up in front of everyone. Dick pics? Yes. No, it's the context. And again, it's like, it's harsh to say here, and again, I really appreciate it, and I do agree with everything you said, by the way. That's what I'm saying. The place it's coming from and what you're saying is fucking on point, but because it doesn't connect, it just kills. And you'll repel a lot of people just in terms of who you meet after this in your life if you don't start to it, because you could be the greatest guy, intentions, have the greatest ideas, but it won't click with other people because of that.
And then in terms of maximizing the relationship once you have them, remember that it's your responsibility. Like, the responsibility's on your shoulders. You can't depend on them to do everything for you. Don't depend on them to introduce you to other people. Don't depend on them to teach you. Don't depend on them to make sure you got the fucking lessons. That's on you. Okay? It's all on you. And don't fall into the trap of, not doing it, or of devaluing them because now you're friends. And this is a trap later on, like, because you're going to be spending so much time with them, it's inevitable you're going to start, becoming more friendly. And we all have this. As soon as someone's our friend, suddenly they're off that pedestal, and we're like, oh, well, why would I learn from my friend? They're just like me. They're at the same level as me. And you stop looking for value to extract. Never forget the original relationship. Never forget who they are, and keep looking for value in the long run, even when you're friends. It doesn't take away from the friendship. You're friends, yeah, but in terms of, the reason that you're a mentor, being a little bit further on that road than you, keep looking for value, okay? Look at them in all aspects of life, how they do things, how they live their life, the connections, how they be friends, who they hang out with, like everything. Take notes. Take tons of notes. I have my phone out with the notepad, and I'm on that every fucking day. Every time there's a little idea, every time I hear something, boom, I write it down, because you forget. Take notes all the time. Remember, it's about character. Okay, remember too that most of the advice or most of the value you'll get is when it's not official. It's when they're just hanging out with you, when they're vibing. That's when the magic happens, let's just say. And take value, remember to take value, don't argue, don't talk back. You're there to learn, not to teach. Sort through it after. Okay, listen more than you speak. And, beyond that, don't compare yourself to your mentor. Be inspired versus trying to be a copy or a poor man's version of them. And give back. Be a mentor to others. share the knowledge. What would be a strategy to have you becoming someone's mentor? So if I wanted me to mentor me, basically, I like that one. Okay, well let's just go through the fucking steps. Do your research. So I would literally look up all of the videos about me, all of like the programs I put out, just study the shit out of it, and don't view this as a chore either. I want to say it like, do your research. Everyone's like, oh, do the chore. I got to do the research to get my mentor. It's like, no, that's the value you'll get out of it. That's a huge part of the value. You know, it's just do your research beforehand, so you can then keep building on that in person with with whoever you want to mentor you, versus have that person just regurgitate the same old fucking shit over and over and over again. You know, so I would do all the research, look at all the programs, and from there just find a way to pop up in my radar. So I'd probably start online. I'd look at, okay, where does Julian spend his time online? Okay, and for me it's just my social medias. On YouTube, I don't answer all the comments. I should, but I don't. But I read through them all. And then in the Real Social Dynamics Facebook groups, the Inner Circle groups, you know, so I would just start commenting everywhere. You know, just start blasting, commenting everywhere. I might even take charge of an Inner Circle group, become the leader of an Inner Circle group, and build it up. Then I would find a way to meet me in person, or I might even email me a couple times first. So I'd email me just offering a couple cool things. You know, it's like, hey, check this out. Or if I knew anyone, hey, I want to introduce you to this person. I think you guys could make some cool collaborations, or I think you guys would get along. Boom, just make some introductions. Send, you know, if there's any skills that I have, like, just help them out. Like, hey, you know, I saw you've been posting motivational videos. Here, I made a motivational video for you for free. Check it out. Bang, you can post on your channel. You know, just anything like that. Then try to meet me in person. Probably try for a free tour at first. And I wouldn't talk to me before the free tour, unless you saw me like just super chill, kind of relaxed. But otherwise, usually before the free tours, me personally, I'm just very kind of quiet. So when I'm on stage, just fucking bring it. But I'd wait till the end. Before the free tour, I'd befriend all of the assistants and start talking about all the assistants. And then trying to mention if there's anyone in common we know, just name drop the shit out of it. And then try to talk to me at the end of the free tour. When everyone's coming up with questions and stuff, I would try to stand a bit away and create somewhat of try to get noticed by being loud and laughing. Loud laughing, so that I would notice, you know, it's so weird talking about me. So I would notice me being loud and laughing. So if people are asking questions like, what the fuck's going on over there? Like, create the bigger party. And then at the end, just come up and be like super brief, hey, peace, you know? And then I would probably go to the paid event on Saturday, be recognized from the assistant. When I walk in, say hi to all the assistants, like, hey, sup, like that. Boom, then say hi to me. And then probably ask like a couple really good questions. And then at the end of that event, spending all day there and just pumping a really good vibe all the time, then come and talk to me and be like, hey, you know, I'm Julian, I built the Inner Circle here, I'm the leader there. You know, and I'll know that he would recognize me because he knew that I built that. He knew that I comment everywhere. He saw me in the good vibe. He saw the comments online. You know, there's the hustle, just really good vibe. And I'm like, hey, you know, if you need any help, ever looking for any interns or anyone to travel with, I'd be more than happy to. I know you're busy now, but I'll email you. Great fucking event. And then, boom, over email, hey, if you're ever looking for any assistance, boom, like that. And then just keep staying on the radar until there's an opening. And then my chances will be fucking super huge. And always just very fun, kind of relaxed vibe. And then have all the assistants, again, keep vouching for me. How would you balance providing value to mentors and maintaining personal boundaries? I have a number of mentors that I've worked with, but it feels sometimes that my generosity is being exploited. Irrelevant. Fuck boundaries. You're there providing value non-stop. Okay, you're not there. If you're being exploited or you feel like you're being exploited, it's because you're not extracting enough value, or you're placing the responsibility on their shoulders for them to provide the value. They don't owe you shit. You're there to help them and be their bitch. That's what you're bringing. If you're at the bottom, you're providing value, you're helping them, and you're being their bitch. That's what they're getting out of it. They don't owe you shit in return. They're spending time with you. That's the value. Spending time with you. And it's then your responsibility, not theirs, to extract as much value while spending that time with them as possible. But they don't owe you anything, no boundaries. You're there to serve, you're there to help them with their mission, with what they're doing, and the responsibility is on your shoulders. How can you be authentic if you cannot express yourself, your sadness, your problems? For that, it's realizing, first of all, it's not the thing, it's the place it's coming from. And two, there's always a fucking context. And your intentions should still be coming from a place of empathy to others. Okay, so here's something I hear when I put out success with women advice. I would tell guys, hey, learn to make yourself laugh. Do what is authentic to you. Do what is congruent to you. And then someone would ask, hey, well, Julian, if I go to a bar and I just pour beer over my head, that's what's fun for me. That's what's authentic for me. But people can't relate. Girls don't want to talk to me when I'm pouring beer all over my head and vomiting on myself. Are you telling me that I need to be fake when talking to girls? That I can't vomit on myself? I don't get it. Should I compromise who I am by not vomiting on myself and pouring beer on my head to talk to a girl? That's what you're asking here. Okay? There's always a context. And you need to be you, but appropriate to that context. If you're at work, you're not going to be screaming. Julian, I feel like I need to scream at work. No, you can't scream at work. Julian, with a mentor, I feel like I should express my sadness. Then pay them. Don't expect them to be your friends if you're going to be all fucking depressed and yelling that out loud. Appropriate to the context. Okay? And the cool thing of Transformation Mastery is that expressing, as we discussed, that doesn't solve it. Being authentic is not about expressing it. Okay? Being authentic is about letting go of the resistance to it. You don't have to express it. When I say this too, like offer positivity and stuff, like amplify it, but otherwise just don't take. If sometimes you're just totally dead, just minimize the downside. Where it's like, you can be dead, but then just don't suck the energy out of them to feel better about yourself. And otherwise too, it's just remind yourself, like, one thing I always do is just take it in. Like, remind yourself in terms of like the gratefulness of it all, like where you're at, who you're with, what you're doing, who you're helping. If you take that in and just take some perspective, energy will naturally come. There were times where even me, I was like helping Owen out, and it was way back in the day when I first started, and there were times where I was just so fucking dead. But then if you just sit down and give yourself 30 seconds, and you're like, wait a minute, here I am traveling around fucking America with this amazing dude. We're, changing lives, doing all these great things. What the fuck are these? What is this? Take it in there. How to deal with coaches who are very successful in the profession I want to be successful as well, but they're coming from a place of scarcity. I learned so much from them, and I should listen to them because they are where I want to be. But they're like, just hustle, and I'm like, letting go at the moment. That is actually a really good question. For that, it's learn discernment. Okay, remember, your goal with a mentor isn't to find someone who's you're agreeing with 100%. It's just someone who's a little further ahead, and then filter through the information they give you. It's very rare, if not impossible, to find someone with whom you agree with 100% of the time. If you just look at me, and just even me and Owen, like, there are a lot of things we disagree on. And that's fine. I guess this is like it's the same as the fucking being politically correct type of attitude, where everyone has to agree on the exact same things. Otherwise, it just won't work. I must agree with my mentor for everything. It's like, no. It's fine if you don't agree with some stuff. Learn discernment. Should you be strict with the paid time? For example, if the hour is up, should you say it? No. No, technically, it's like you're just both having such a good time. And, talk about other stuff too. Like, there was... I'll give you like 2 examples. Like, there was one guy, a great fucking guy actually from New York. He did the boot camp in Miami with me, and so he paid for this boot camp, and again, really cool guy, and we started talking, and like his skills are really, really good. But then we started talking a lot about these about restaurants, like different restaurants and stuff like that, and it was super cool, like super fun to hang out with. And then I caught myself here. I was traveling, and I went to this. My friend got a connection for us to go to this really nice restaurant in Berlin, and I haven't done it yet. But like I'm like, fuck, I should send this guy a picture saying I was going to this restaurant because he was talking about these really nice restaurants and he'd probably love it. So there's one example where I'm actually inspired to be like, oh, let me text this guy. So it's not teacher client, it's here's a cool guy, and we chatted and had a really good bond talking about restaurants. Here's like a friend. Here's someone I could text outside of the working teacher-student dynamic. You want to get out of the teacher-student dynamic, the mentor-mentee dynamic. So that would be one. Another one is, well, here just in Berlin, there was another guy who he did a boot camp with me in Helsinki, and he'd done boot camps with me for years. He's just been around. He doesn't have much time to go out, so when he does, he'll like do a boot camp to have like these epic weekends out. And him, it's the same thing. He's just been, I've just known him for so long. He's become a familiar face. He's kind of on the in that, it's more like, oh, hey again, versus, okay, here's the client, let's deliver. It's like, hey again, let's, how are you doing? And it's someone that I could see myself spending time with outside of this paid teacher-student dynamic. And then, we're in Berlin, and I just invite him out to hang out one night. So it's like anything to reinforce that we could hang out outside of this dynamic. Just to recap some of the big ones: look for a friend, not a mentor. Look for a friend, not a mentor. Social awareness and eliminate the downside. Social awareness, eliminate the downside, and kill your sense of over-entitlement and just do whatever the fuck it takes. Okay? Do whatever the fuck it takes. Realize the value is in spending a lot of time with that person, learning from their character, versus just getting your little questions answered or looking for the little tips and tricks. To conclude,